I just totally forgot about those photographs.
No worries.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Here's the good news, Your Honor. We're moving well now that we're in the witnesses. So,
Yes.
and because the defense and I have been discussing, I think we're close, and I was hoping to use this time to kind of deal with the jail calls.
Okay.
I've narrowed it down to 3.
Okay.
And I have, based on our discussion, we talked about a potential stipulation which would allow for us to basically play the jail calls without even calling a witness.
Right.
So I'll have to pull up the stipulation. I sent it to them, and then I'll, of course,
And maybe let's just play out loud the final edited, and I'll give one of these.
Okay. So you're saying you'll have me read something to the jury before the evidence
yes, and
is
I'll
okay.
I'm sorry, Aaron, I'll bring it up here in just a
That's
moment.
fine. I'm not.
I know.
I have Mr. Swinney on transport again at 8:30 tomorrow, just also so that if you guys want to get here, like, but it seems like if we do, well, keep going. I'm sorry, I was just filling the silence.
I know what it is. Here it is. I sent it to you, and here it is. Do you want it? You?
I think you did. It was the one that you sent to them.
Yep, that's the one. It is a weird title, but
Yes.
it was because like I said, I cut and paste off that one.
Oh, I got it. Here it is.
And I certainly meant this as a suggestion and I'm open to any discussion in the courts then. So the reason I say that is because unfortunately I had the title of motion to compel, and that was not my intent by any means.
I mean, I like a little more casual language. You are now going to hear excerpts from some phone calls made by Alan Swinney. Those phone calls were made after August 22nd, 2020, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why my brain cannot do that correct right now. I just cannot. I've done
So,
that.
members of the jury, the state's now going to present their state's exhibits 90, 91, and 101. Those are phone calls made by Mr. Swinney sometime after the incident date of August 22nd, 2020.
That works for me.
Normally, because it's a legal stipulation, I'm okay if it's off the record that they're stipulating to that.
Well, it's on the record.
I know it's on the record. Sorry.
Okay.
Outside the presence of the jury is what I meant to
Got
vocalize.
So stipulated.
Okay.
All right. Then, all right. Then we can now hopefully listen to those calls. And is it?
I think the exhibits.
2 of them should. Well, 2 of them should be, but maybe not.
So I should probably write down what I just said, so I remember.
Just make sure to save the file before.
I'm doing it on OneNote now. Which 90, 91, and 10?
I'll have to look at my list, but I believe it's 101. There it is.
Oh shoot.
So,
I gotta send an email.
yeah, because I don't think we actually, yeah, so 101 would be, Mr. Kenyon, is that correct, that 101 has not been entered yet?
I have 101 as the jail letter.
Oh, yeah.
You switched it, it was 102,
Yeah,
and then you made the jail letter 101.
I like to do that to myself. All right, so we'll make jail letter there, and it can be, so it'll be like 102?
Okay.
90, 91, 102.
Yes, and I mean, really, we could change it to 90.
I don't care what numbers they are. I'm just trying to make sure I say the right one.
Yes, let's go, let's just make it a little more simplistic and go 90, 91, 92. That's right?
Just
You
make sure
have
you.
something on your list already as a 92.
Okay.
93. 94 available.
Yeah, let's go back to the original plan of 102 just to be safe.
90, 91, 102. Phone calls of Mr. Swinney made sometime after the August 22nd, 2020
The one this afternoon would be the,
Oh, email?
this is where it says, here's exhibits 91 and 90. 90 and 91. I'm getting punchy, I'm sorry. Not much sleep lately.
Okay, jail calls at 1 p.m.
That sounds right.
Probably.
God, no, it's 102. God, I cannot keep this straight.
101 is set.
And that's not it. So it's this afternoon. There's a new one, so I can send that one to you.
Okay.
Email him and then just say,
Do I start line 9?
sorry, we're in trial. Off the record for a minute.
Sure.
Thank you. That doesn't even
Off the
work.
record.
Thank you.
From the desk.
Make sure to add dictated but not read at the end. We're just gonna have to.
Me their license, I'll pass you out a bear mace, and that way whoever's license I still got at the end of the day, it owes me for bear mace. It's like $42 can. It's $500 worth of bear mace.
I'm just gonna make sure. Sometimes
Is
I
that
listen
hearsay? Sometimes I.
faster speed for time. I just want to make sure I'm not doing that. Okay.
It's worth every penny when you get.
Listen to it through, and then we can.
Well,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
none of that matters. It is. It's worth every penny. But yeah, I mean that's like, I mean it's for self-defense. I mean all that sounds good. Everything I've heard so far, we got to catch the assault on video. We got to catch the assault. If something happens, if something happens, and if something kicks off, and we have to defend ourselves, and we've got the assault on video, I think it's undercover guy. Got it, because if you watch the videos of the rally, you can see when I lost it.
This is
So
the
we
right
were
one.
still like from the time.
Sorry, I don't think this is the correct one. I apologize. Well, that was the one where they're talking about the videos and stuff, and that's not the one that we're trying to.
That's not the exhibit you're trying to put in?
Nope. Let me see if I have.
I'll start with one of the other exhibits. This is 90.
You must use your assigned personal
Action.
identification number or PIN.
We have it where it's
Phone call.
cut out.
Do
So
not allow another inmate to use your PIN. Use of another inmate's PIN may result in disciplinary sanctions or additional criminal charges. Do not ask the called party to transfer or
We
connect you
downloaded
to
without
another
it. Yep.
person
Yeah, there
or
it is.
number.
Okay, now that one was my fault, not Nathan's.
for trading off.
I'm happy to blame both of you
Shot the
equally.
girl with a paintball.
Perfect.
Wasn't me who shot the girl with a paintball. Did she deserve to get shot with a paintball? Yeah. She's in a violent mob, right? So, like, I mean, that's what happens to you when you get mixed up in violent mobs, right? Did she deserve to get shot with a paintball? Yeah. Am I glad she got shot with one? Yeah, I am. But I didn't shoot her with it, and I can prove that. And that guy that got hit in the eyebrow, like, I told him to get away from me several times, and he wouldn't get away, and he was blocking somebody who was coming up to us, who was sneaking up behind him to assault me, and he incidentally got hit with a paintball in his eyebrow. Too bad for him. He doesn't need to be hanging out in violent mobs. He's lucky the guy behind him didn't throw a Molotov cocktail, because if he did, it might not have been a paintball, it might have been something else going through there. So, I mean, he should consider himself lucky, and he should quit hanging out in violent mobs, right? So, like, both of those.
You want to hear the other ones, or you want to argue about that one?
Just the thing of, I can prove it. I didn't shoot the woman, and I can prove it. Again, it's statements that essentially shifts the burden.
I'm
Sure,
happy.
you can-
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm happy to try to edit that out. That I can prove it part.
Yeah, if you take I can prove it out, then
All right, if you're happy to edit it out, I'm happy to
Yes.
have you edit it out.
Yes, that's why we're going to have this discussion now.
Okay.
So
And I'll play number 91.
That girl that got shot with a paintball, that wasn't my paintball.
She can't prove that was you.
No, right, but yeah, she can't prove it was me. And eyebrow, there's a reason why he got shot with that. Like, he should be thinking. Guys behind him were throwing Molotov cocktails. Wouldn't I have ammo, right? Because, like, I'm not gonna sit there and let somebody throw Molotov cocktails at me because there's some dumbass standing in between us, right? So, like, yeah, that said it's a learning thing. The only thing I need to hear out of that motherfucker is a thank you, right? I'm handing out life lessons to him.
All right, confident? Obviously, I just see on the screen, and in an effort to prevent it from being an issue, the tab is entitled Jail Calls. Can we change the name of that tab?
yeah, I mean, so my plan, so the
Yes.
court's clear, is that we'll have a file that says exhibits,
Okay,
and we'll also get rid of all the stuff where it says edit audio cut. It'll just say exhibit 90,
Okay.
exhibit 91, and that's it.
great.
I'll try to,
And then is there a third one?
yes,
Okay.
hoping that we'll be able to locate it. Let me just see.
auto one.
$500 plus bear me.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, and it's for self-defense. I mean, I think it came off of me. I don't know when exactly. I'm on our side.
That's it. No, it's not.
Also, I have the Bellingcat video. It's 100.
It's an audio clip, but yeah. Ben, right?
We'll just make sure it all matches up.
This confusion here with this exhibit 101 was that it was a phone call about the Bellingcat video. Okay, maybe that's my problem, is I'm looking in the wrong folder. Maybe this is it. Yes. Okay. Let me just forward that to you, and that's it. Okay, this is the one.
Proud of every time we kick Antifa's ass, too. Because they're enemies of this country. they're enemies of the Constitution, and they're domestic terrorists. And I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I hate them. I hate them. And I'm going to do everything I can to bring them down every chance I get. So I don't care what anybody thinks about that. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. And of course the left's going to hate that.
What's the theory of relevance?
It says motivation. Speaks to his motivation, his intent. He hates them.
Very, very general. Stevie Mora was going to say no to that. We are objecting on those grounds.
Let me hear it one more time, please.
Got it.
Proud every time we kick Antifa's ass too, because they're enemies of this country. They're enemies of the Constitution, and they're domestic terrorists. And I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I hate them. I hate them. And I'm going to do everything I can to bring them down every chance I get. So I don't care what anybody thinks about it. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. And of course the left's going to hate that.
I think under Morrow and Stockton, that is admissible as to motive.
Sorry, one thing that my brain's a little fuzzy right now too, the previous one where there's another voice on there that says they can't prove that you shot her.
I think she says that, yeah, but we can play it again, but I think she's not saying that you can't prove it.
He's saying the state can't.
It's hearsay in any case.
That's true.
We can have instructions as disregard any other voice but Mr. Swinney's.
Let's play it. Let me just listen to it real quick.
Number, I'm sorry, 90 or 91?
I think that was 91.
91.
That girl that got shot in the titty with that paintball, that wasn't my paintball.
She can't prove that was you.
No, right, but yeah, she can't prove it was me. And Eyebrow, there's a reason why he got shot with that. There's a reason, and like he should be thankful. He should use that as a learning experience.
If you just, I mean, I don't know that. What if you just took out? I mean, I don't know how hard it is. Just took out that beginning part until and just start it when he says she can't prove it.
Let me first forward this argument to the court,
Okay.
and we can discuss that. So he adopts it when he says, no, right, like he's adopting it. So it's not hearsay because of his adoption of the statement. That would be the argument of the state. If necessary, I can certainly try to edit that out.
That's persuasive, then there's also a confrontation issue.
I mean, in what way? Because he's actually agreeing with Mr. Swinney. So it's not, I mean, confrontation to me is that you need to have a right to cross-examine somebody. And what would you cross-examine him on? Did you really mean it when you said she couldn't prove it?
If we want to do it in instruction that it's true that they can't prove it, then I'm happy to forego confrontation right.
Judge, I think probably I'll just edit that part out. I mean, in reality, it only helps the defendant, so I'll just take it out. I mean, that's
and
fine.
I need to say, kind of all of this side snickering all the time is going to wear on me by the end of this trial if we cannot just be professionals. Okay.
Let me take a step back then and say the exhibit is fine as it stands.
So you no longer are objecting to 91?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else we can do in the next 10 minutes before we send Mr. Swinney on his way?
That piece.
Quickly, just since we do have the time, we were provided a couple of items in discovery from the defense. These appear to be from, I'm not sure, blog or social media post of Ms. Stewart, who's going to be our next witness.
Okay.
I was provided them without necessarily context of whether they're intended to be used or in what context. They don't seem relevant to me, and maybe it's just for impeachment if she says something inconsistent with that, but I would object to them coming in as substantive evidence.
Your Honor, it was provided, and I actually indicated to Didier Vasquez when I provided copies of those that they were for impeachment purposes, and that I'm not sure I would even need to use them, but because out of an abundance of caution, I wanted to provide them ahead of time.
Yeah, we're just raising that. Thank you. We appreciate that providing them.
Sounds like that was all on the up and up then. And then so with regards to the videos that I guess I was worried about them being used in opening statements. So are there parts or portions of those videos that I watched last night that are defense exhibits that you all want in? Because for the most part, I don't see Mr. Swinney in them, which was why I was thinking about excluding them. Probably having now watched some of the other videos that the state introduced, I maybe have I'm a little more flexible, but I still don't think it's all going to come in part because the gentleman that's recording it, the filmer, does a lot of narration.
Will be available as a witness.
Okay. Certainly there was one part where you see Mr. Swinney and someone says something like, he just had a glass bottle thrown at him. And it's a little unclear to me if that's the glass bottle was thrown at Mr. Swinney, but you see something kind of at his feet. So that there was like a, we'll say generously 20-second clip in one of them that seemed arguably relevant.
Okay. Ms. Desai's been handling those. She's been watching them more recently than I have, so I will defer to her on what we're doing with them. In the alternative, I mean, I could review them tonight, and if I'm still insisting on offering them, I'll let them know as soon as I have.
I mean, it would be helpful for me to, because let's see, it's that, rounding down, 7, 16, 19, 21 minutes worth of stuff. And based in part on the videos that we watched today, it does seem that Mr. Swinney is primarily in the south end of 3rd during a lot of the August 22nd stuff. And this cameraman is almost exclusively at the north end. He does move, everyone's moving around, I get it. But the parts where Mr. Swinney is charged.
I mean, the testimony from Ms. Connolly was that he was all over the place.
She said he was wandering around, yes. But he's not in any of the videos from the first, like I said, I think there's, in the 9-minute and 29-second video from about 6:09 to 6:18, it's clearly Mr. Swinney. The camera person says a glass bottle just hit him. I'm not 1,000% sure that he's talking about Mr. Swinney, but in an abundance of fairness to Mr. Swinney, I would certainly let that part come in.
I actually can't even watch those videos right now.
I'm pulling them up right now. Just give me a minute. 9 minutes, you said 9 minutes, 29 seconds.
So the video length is 9 minutes and 29 seconds. It's the video ending in 13129 was the file number. So at about, so the police are on the loudspeaker at 5 minutes and 30 seconds as the camera pans south again. You see smoke bomb and or firework smoke in the air at mid-block. At 6:12, the person who I believe to be Mr. Swinney, and now I'm sure, I just hadn't really seen it before.
mean, Your Honor allowed testimony from Ms. Connolly about the general chaotic nature of the event without any regard to whether Alan Swinney was in the immediate vicinity. Just because those cameras happened to be on Alan Swinney, your ruling was, well, that's obviously Alan Swinney and that's obviously the day. Alan Swinney is obviously there, and those are obviously the day.
But how is it relevant? It's relevant. I mean, the state's videos are relevant because Mr. Swinney was in them or Ms. Connell was in them. Now you're making me say her name wrong. Carell was in them.
Yeah, sorry.
That's why the state's videos were relevant. There's parts of the videos where Mr. Swinney is in them. Those are relevant.
I mean, Mr. Swinney's not in the first video, the motorcycle coming through. That came in. It's
Okay.
It's the general.
I don't think you objected to that video, did you?
Sure did.
You did?
Did not.
Okay.
Right. I just, when there is, it helps to paint a picture of the scene, of the day.
I feel like the painting's fairly clear. If there are parts of these videos that you think paint a picture in a different way, that Mr. Swinney certainly, again, if he testifies, for example, there's the video where the dude is holding the knife and yelling, like, come on, let's go. And then other people on as I'll just continue to use the language that's been used throughout trial, on the right side or the Justice Center side say, he's got a knife. If Mr. Swinney takes a stand and says, I heard them say that guy has a knife, I feel like that video comes in. But otherwise, how is it relevant? If he didn't know that guy had a knife, how is it relevant?
I understand Your Honor's ruling.
Okay.
I do have actually one clip that I think is relevant based on Ms. Carell's testimony, Your Honor. Video ending in 13:59 at the 1 minute and 23 second mark, there's the umbrellas that you see from protesters. Ms. Carell testified that
The one with the thing around it too?
Okay, yeah.
umbrellas, and Ms. Carell testified that she was right there, and that was right around the time that the gun was pulled right across from there. So while Mr. Swinney is not in there, that is his vantage point, and that is supported by Ms. Carell's testimony.
Okay, and I will also say at 1:56, you hear someone yelling, Alan, Alan, Alan. You don't see Mr. Swinney, but I would say he's probably there at the time. So let's watch that video. Let's see if the state has any.
Okay. And I'm sorry, what was the number? I missed that.
135944. It's 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
And it's at the 1 minute and 23 second mark.
123?
Yep.
Do we have to show that part? Okay, so if you want to show from like 1:23 to just before the nude woman is in there, I don't have a problem with that.
Right about the 2 minute mark, I guess? Or a little before?
No, 120.
Sorry,
120
to end it is my question. 120 through about this point, the 2 minute mark?
Actually, Your Honor, we're asking 115. You have a clear shot of the video, the umbrellas, and that's the view that.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, what are, like, yeah, fine. Start it at 1:10 to 2 minutes, show 50 seconds.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, and it's 4:31. So we'll go off the record. We'll let Mr. Swinney get on his way this afternoon. Are there more things you all think we should discuss before the jury tomorrow at 9?
I mean, what we still have to do is jury instructions.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think, how many you got?
I mean, some of them are hard in a vacuum until we know exactly what your case is
Um,
gonna be.
We've got not much left for that.
Yeah, I'd say Ms. Stewart is the largest block of time.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, I have with Ashheim.
Ashheim and jailhouse.
And Ashheim will bring in, as I told you, he's gonna bring in demonstrative exhibit, so.
Projecting for that.
Do you wanna talk about it now, or?
We don't
Well,
have
it's
time right now.
4:30. So we'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.